Hello, everyone. I am here to present you an unusual tape I discovered of the 1995 Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. Destroyah. For those who don't know, I'll give you a brief rundown of the story. After many action-packed battles across Japan, Godzilla's heart begins to run out of radiation and enters a meltdown. To make the situation even worse, a new monster called Destroyah, spawned in from a chemical reactions caused by the oxygen destroyer in the original Godzilla movie, appears. And it's up to Godzilla to save the nation before he himself destroys it. Anyway, I came across this VHS tape back in 1996, shortly after the film had been released in Japan. Being a serious fan of Godzilla, I obtained the tape after buying it directly from a Japanese distributor myself for a small fee, and plus some import costs. After inserting the tape into my player, I noticed the first major difference. Rather than the film opening with Godzilla rampaging through Hong Kong, the film opens on Birth Island, which is where Godzilla and his son, Little Godzilla, went home after defeating the Space Godzilla in the previous film. Little Godzilla can be seen wandering through the island, blowing bubbles and generally having, whale of a time on the small island. But Space Godzilla can be briefly seen in the background when Little Godzilla wanders towards his father. I assume this was an error due to the use of stock footage. Godzilla doggedly watches his son after having to flatten several trees to get a better vantage point over the island's coastline. Suddenly, Godzilla's chest pulses and radiation emits out, and the chute on his back, he roars in agony. Then the scene cuts to Little Godzilla, who looks around surprised as the screen goes white. The film then continues onwards towards the Hong Kong introduction, and at this point towards the film he continues with the small little errors such as Godzilla Jr. missing one of his roars, and the lines they used to control the juvenile Destroyah puppets being visibly so often. The film then changes from becoming a bit disturbing when Godzilla Jr. is killed by the final form of Destroyah. Destroyah lifts Jr. into the air as per usual, but Jr. desperately tries to fight back by blasting Destroyah in the face multiple times with his atomic breath. Destroyah then shrugs it off and then using all of his strength throws Jr. onto the ground. When Jr. hits the ground, instead of seeing Miki and her friends' shocked reaction, Jr.'s face is down in a close-up with foaming at the mouth. Similar faction if he was injected with the micro-oxygen earlier in the film. He is then also shown to be withering in pain. Right at the side of the suit, his face was desperate and dented inwards. It continues for about a minute or so before Junior falls limp. Godzilla then looks even angrier than usual, storms out towards Destroyah in retaliation for the death of his son, but Destroyah uses his powerful arms to toss Godzilla aside into the building, which collapses underneath the mutated dinosaur's sheer weight. Destroyah then appears almost happy that he is killing and injuring his foes, in a sadistic glint in his eyes that appear as he watches Godzilla desperately trying to get up towards his son. Godzilla breathes radiation over Junior, but unlike the normal film, which he is briefly revived before dying, but Junior does not stir. The next scene insists of a subject that which had become a legendary amongst the G fans. Its scenes were often described, but very rarely seen. There is no sound except for what appears to be the grinding of the servos Destroyer's suit. The monster braces himself, and then the patterns on his chest open up. What I definitely saw hasn't been by anyone else. Whereas in the normal deleted scene, Destroyer's actual beam that is fried in this attack isn't seen because probably it had been edited yet. In this version, you could clearly see the beam, which was colored in bright purple, slam into Godzilla and the scene fades to white. This was not the end of the tape, however. Despite the previous scene having clearly displayed the death of Godzilla, the new scene is shown instead. I saw the production code GVVSD1005 was now visible in the corner of the film. I then realized I came across a work print version of the movie. The next scene then cuts to the body of Junior again. This time he is even a worse state than before. The part of his suit was on fire, but rather than just showing the inside of the suit, but slowly roasting the flesh-colored fabrics which is made up the inside and the down certain to be Saran to be seen. Flames then overtake the monster altogether, and the sparks start to fly out of the boundary between the suit head and the neck. Then the film then cuts to further onwards when the JSDF show up and try to bombard Destroyah with their weapons. Instead of taking off the air, Destroyah's final floral pattern opens up again, as he uses the same move as earlier, destroying the tanks in the mighty explosion. That marked the end of the film. Rather being scared or disturbed or annoyed, I was fascinated by what I've seen. I decided to reorder the new tape so I could see the final project, and I wanted to keep the hold of the unusual tape. Perhaps it was the strangest thing about this tape that is there ever to be no blood whatsoever. Although it is a rare occurrence, blood is sometimes used in Godzilla series to symbolize a serious injury. Since this wasn't added during the additional of the other effects, it was always used while the cameras are still rolling, which is why the blood had not been used here to baffle me. Maybe perhaps it's symbolic or something. Either way, I'm keeping this tape. Who knows what secrets it might hold. And that, my little pretties, was Godzilla vs. Destroyah, a Godzilla Lost episode creepypasta written by KoopaGalaxain. My final thoughts on the story? Well, I'm definitely gonna say this is actually a pretty good Godzilla creepypasta. Now, I am gonna sit here and say this. I want to give a good credit and even shout out to Gory Parody these productions, because Gory Parody these productions narrated this story first, and then Dave the Useless narrated it 2 years ago, and Mr. Gruesome narrated this last year. So I think, I kind of want to make that, just to let that everyone know, in case if any of you guys were curious about this movie. Well, about this pasta. Now, this pasta was definitely something. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this story was definitely really something. Like, I remember I was a fan of Godzilla back when I was younger. So I definitely would have to say it's a pretty good pasta. Like, I really do like how, it's a normal, Lost movie pasta, but, it's done in a different manner. Like, I know it was kind of changed a little bit crazy, see, to make it look like it's a different movie, which it kind of did say that. But I really would have to say this pasta actually did a pretty good concept for it. Like, now, I could definitely say that I know that there might have been maybe some. There was the DVD. Let's see. Oh yeah, there was a DVD cliche, but not DVD, VHS cliche, but it still works out very well. Like, it's still working out very well and really well made. I really do like it. It had a really good concepts. Like, I like how the characters were up. The storyline was awesome. Now, I definitely have to say that I actually seen, a few people narrate this story, and it's a pretty good pasta. I'm not gonna lie. It's a really, really good, well-made creepypasta. Like, when I first saw this story, I think it was 2014. I think this was written in 2014. It was most likely written at 2014, because, maybe it was 2013. I don't really know. But I really do like how this story went out. It's a flat out amazing story. Now, I'm really glad that there is, no blood in this story. Like, I mean, I don't mind blood in this story, but to be completely honest, I actually really found this one to be quite enjoyable. Now, I really do have to say, I really do like how the story went out. Now, I'm saying that I remember, seeing this story on the wiki, so I decided to, have a look at this one. And this one is actually pretty good. I actually found this one to be a quite enjoyable story. It's still a pretty good one for what this is, so I really would have to say I really still find this one to be amazing, especially with, the whole concept of its own self, of how it went out. Now, I really do like this story. I really do. It's a pretty good story. To KoopaGalaxain, you did a pretty good job with this story. Like, I mean, this Lost episode pasta did pretty good with, Lost movie with, no cliche. Well, maybe just a VHS cliche, but it's not really a big deal. Like, I could understand that this is an older story way before creepypasta cliches became a big issue. So, like, this is an older story. So, I'm willing to give it benefit of the doubt that this is an older story. Pretty good and well made in detail. I really still find this one to be enjoyable. It's well made. I really do like it. It's really amazing. So, I guess with that being the case, to that being said, I really do like how, it had a really good concept for, what this one is. I really do find this one to be, amazing. And the grammar was awesome. I really do like how this one went out. So, I really can't see anything that I did not really care or like about this story. I can't seem to find it. But I really would have to say this story was actually really fun. I really do had fun reading this story over and over again. It's a really good story. Now, I haven't really watched Godzilla in like years. Like, I remember I watched Godzilla at one point, and Godzilla actually is pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I haven't watched the movies in a while, so I'm probably gonna have to sit there and go watch Godzilla, although I haven't seen, that movie in years. Still really like how this story went out. It's pretty good. So, I really do like it. So, with that being the case, and with that being said, yeah, I'm gonna sit here and say this right now, that this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story would have to be a 10 out of 10. It has a really good storyline, it had a really good concept. The grammar, before I forget to mention, the grammar is really good, along with the sentence structuring. And I really like that this one did not go into cliche mess, not like most creepypasta stories do. So that's one of the things I could definitely say I'm blessed to have. That is not in, like, and the thing is, though, is that there's no blood in this story, and I'm gonna say this now, you don't really need blood to make a story scary. This one did a pretty good example. As well as some other stories, this one provides a pretty good example. So, I guess with that being the case and that being said, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what would you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out of here. And good shout out to KoopaGalaxain. Great job with this story, my friend. This was awesome. I know I'm saying my friend because I never met this person, but I do know who the author is, so shout out to the author for that. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.